The best results that I've gotten, so the best way that I've created clients has been through having conversations and sharing stories. So you've been showing up every single day in one way or another since you started?
Until I got temporarily suspended for 7 days. If you try to rush everything at once, of course you're going to screw up. You just need to go, okay, what do I need to do now? And then do it. And then what do I need to do next? And then do it, all while maintaining the mindset that, hey, I actually can do this. If your brother says, yo, I just made $1,000 in a day, you can't quite ignore that, right?
And we're live with Mr. Benjamin Chan.
Hello, what's
Ben
going on?
Chan, Ben Chan. I never call you Benjamin.
I was wondering where that came from.
Yeah, you're right. Because that's how I met you. I met you through that first long name of yours, because you had written Benjamin Chan on Twitter when we met. But thank you for being here, my friend. It's lovely that we're doing this in person. We're locked in from where?
Dubai,
UAE. You've been living here now for...
slightly over a year.
Oh, I thought it was longer than that. But
about a decade, actually.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. It's just over a year.
And so tell the people how, I kind of gave it away already, but for those who don't know, how do you and I know each other?
Do I look at you? Do I look at the camera?
Whatever you feel more comfortable with.
So,
A little bit of both.
I was scrolling on X. We met on X, Elon's
On
platform.
Twitter, yeah.
Yeah. And I saw this one post of this handsome-looking gentleman talking about his dad. And so his father and my father... Oops, sorry.
Sorry, I'm just putting it down.
We have similar stories. So I dropped a comment. I said, hey, I actually relate to this a lot. And good thing he did. He DM'd me and he said, hey, I saw your comment. We should hop on a call. And we did. And we've pretty much called every single week, minus 1 or 2 months where we were traveling. Since then, it's been amazing.
Yeah. It was pretty, I was saying this, that it was one of the most consistent accounts, friendships / whatever you want to call it, that I had met when we had started. Because, there's many people, and I'm sure you've gotten this with other people who you've met online, mainly on X, but some people that you meet and you talk for a little bit and then it kind of dies down, right? And then some people, I'm curious to know how your thoughts with that. I'm sure you've had it with many, many accounts, huh?
Yeah, I think the reason is just because we don't click that much. Mm-hmm. Whereas for both of us, not only do we have the same similarities, example, growing a brand on X, mm-hmm. we also share many of the same ideals, many of the same philosophies, beliefs, because of the way we were brought up. So a lot of what we know has been ingrained to us from a young age, and then a lot of the other people we know are just not like us. So when we see someone slightly similar, we just click.
Yeah, I like that. It's funny because it's also, like you were saying, it's one of the first people that you were in a meeting on offline, right? How did it feel? As in, how many others have you met offline that you first had initially met online? You get my question?
Around 7 people.
Oh,
I
wow.
think. Yeah.
That's a lot. Why did you tell me there wasn't that many? It was to make me feel special, wasn't it?
7 isn't that many.
It is. For people that you've met online first and then meet offline, 7 is a lot, I find.
True. Though, to be fair, you were the second person I called from X. Or the third person.
Okay,
yeah,
look, you're trying to make me feel special.
There we go.
Ben's good at that.
I called over 100 people and you were second or third.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Good to know. I was one of the first ones. But so how does it feel, I guess, from the other people? Not with me, because I know that, we're good, but I meant other people who you have met online first and then you met them offline. How different was it to what you thought of them before meeting them?
So the weird thing is that I tend to think people are shorter or taller than they actually are.
That's the craziest part, huh?
I was telling John, I think Julian's maybe a bit taller than me, but no, he ends up being 12 cm taller? He's half a head taller. In the photos we post together, I'll admit it, okay, cancel me if you want. I was the one tiptoeing. But
I didn't even know that.
You didn't even know?
No, I didn't know that.
We were here. But with the other people, it honestly just feels surreal because it's almost like when you play a video game, you get to know the characters, and then all of a sudden you meet the characters in real life. That's almost what it feels like, except these characters are way more fun, way more complex, way more handsome than video games.
Very, very good point. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. It's interesting because I used to, when I started on X and we were posting, and I know you just mentioned the analogy, but it's funny, you do see it as a video game, right? Everything you do, you're trying to increase your levels, get better and better and better, and keep learning, and then you collaborate with people, you unlock new levels, new locations, right? And and you get to work with the same people or people that you want to choose to work with, and it ends up never ending, right? It's actually pretty cool. I would have never thought, you know, I was telling you this before we hopped on. Ben asked me, he says, so what were we talking about my digital footprint? Remember I was telling you how I used to never post. I used to not have, and you asked me why did you do X? Why did you do Twitter? And what did I tell you? I said that it was because you asked me why not YouTube? Why not Instagram? And I told you because I felt like Twitter was the best, or X was the best platform. Excuse me, I keep changing the names interchangeably, not on purpose. X was the best platform to just, you could write something in 2 minutes and get feedback, instant feedback. And writing, I think the skill of writing is so powerful, a skill that I never realized how actually powerful it was besides what we knew from it at school. How has writing changed your life? How does it play in daily? I know you write daily. A lot of your work, your income, what you do on a day-to-day basis revolves around writing. So tell me about that. Have you always been a big writer?
I would say because I'm Asian, it just comes naturally. No, I'm kidding. But because
where's he going with this?
Because I'm Asian, or at least because of the household I grew up in, I was homeschooled. So my mom always made sure to not drill it in, but made sure I had good English.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to studies, she enrolled me in English writing, English speaking classes to at least get a decent level of understanding of at least one language. I learned Chinese for 6 years, but I suck at that. So at least I have English to go with. Dang. So you see, the thing about podcasts is that I like to ramble and I forget the question.
No,
this
good.
is going to happen several times.
No, you're good. I'll be here to remind you. Tell me about, you were getting into it. So how did writing come into your life? And from how young of an age? If ever, maybe you just learned it when you started creating content. I don't know.
I would say my earliest memories of actually writing besides work, I used to create parodies of songs when I was younger. So
what do you mean? Say, wait. Let's dive more into that. What do you mean you used to create parodies of songs? Please share more.
I used to love music.
Sorry, I'm listening to you. I'm just putting it's hot now.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, it's because of me. I'm.
Okay, continue.
So I used to love music,
Okay.
but or at least I had an absolutely terrible singing voice. So, and because of that, I didn't really mix with the world of music a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried composing songs. I tried composing one and it sucked. So one day it hit me, I can just kind of parody songs. So you take lyrics of another song, change them a bit to make a completely new meaning. For example, I remember one of my favorite ones was Rachel Platten's Fight song. I made a whole parody called Fart Song. It's about a trip to the toilet that went wrong. And
so you would just spend your time, dare I ask how old you were?
Too old to be doing this.
Okay.
14.
I'm glad we agree. But wait, so you're saying that you would spend the time looking at this, like whatever, it was a famous song, let's say, and you would then look at the lyrics and find smart ways where you could change the... Interesting. So I guess you always had this kind of a knack for words, huh?
I would say I try to think of myself as wittier than most.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
Okay, fair enough. Why not? But okay, so then continue with the journey. So that was your first, you're saying this was your first, breaking news here, Ben Chan's first immersion into the power of writing was with parodies of music.
Yeah.
From fight song to fart song.
Oh gosh, I remember.
Is that going to be the headline of the video?
I hope not. That would not be
Story marketer. The creator of story marketing actually started not the way you think. Okay, continue.
That's
you were saying.
I think after that. Oh yeah. After that, I had this whole phase of like 3 years with another friend where we made Lego stop motion videos, and from then we moved on to directing short films. We would save up $2,000 at the age of 17, direct these 30-40 minute short films, get our friends to act.
Wow.
And writing wasn't that necessary, it was just a script. But then I didn't really write much until Twitter or X. We're gonna keep interchanging these words for the rest of the podcast.
Just to make sure that people understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so you weren't right, but again, was there script writing involved in those short films?
Yeah, a lot of it.
And that was your role?
part of it, but I mean, I would say in terms of writing back then, I was decent. I'm not saying I'm like super good now, but back then with script writing, with parodies, with English classes, all this, it already gave me like a general foundation. So once I came to X, I had a lot of word power to tap into when I was able to, and that allowed me to write my posts better.
Man, interesting. Okay, so it's an interesting journey actually. So I saw we went from parodies to short films and more video content, but at the end of the day, correct me if I'm wrong, you're a firm believer that writing is the baseline for every kind of content, doesn't matter if it's video or anything, right? Do we agree on that?
Definitely. In fact, I saw this one video by Alex Hormozy
Okay.
like 2-3 days ago.
What do you say?
Where he ranked the social media platforms in order. And he said that all his content, or a large majority of his content, starts with Twitter.
Agreed.
Then he repurposes it to carousels on Instagram, comes up with YouTube video ideas from it. Everything starts with Twitter, X. Therefore, everything starts with writing.
I like that. I recently experienced that before the workshop. I was writing a lot of content relating to the concept of the topic of the workshop, which was hunger. So I would write a lot of tweets about hunger, then long forms from there, then newsletters from there. And then from there, I ended up saying how much do I know about the topic, ended up writing an ebook about it. And then from the ebook, I ended up having all the content for a workshop. And now the workshop's going to lead to a YouTube video. Then that can lead to shorts, that then can lead to LinkedIn posts, like you said, carousels, like everything. So I see that. And do you feel like you use that power then? Like, are you doing that for your account, for your social medias? Are you repurposing stuff from the seed, the origin of Twitter, X?
Actually, no. A lot of my friends have been saying, oh, I want to branch out to TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever other social media platforms. I try to keep everything on Twitter first, because Twitter and email. Because, I mean, if I spread my attention to too many places, I'm afraid that everything will slowly start dropping off. And I was at a Grant Cardone event recently, and he said a lot of people fall off because they try to start another side hustle when the main one isn't even fully functional yet. And as a result, both of them suffer. And I do not want to do that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm understanding is you want to put all your time, energy, and focus into one thing, make that one thing be as good as it can be, and then take that, transfer it, and channel it into something else.
Yeah.
While
exactly.
you have a system that runs the other one.
Yep.
Nice. So is that what you're doing now? You're putting all your energy, time, and focus into Twitter, as you have been, and your emails. But wouldn't people say that email is kind of a second side hustle, or is it related to the Twitter?
You see, the thing about emails is that, I mean, you could get banned on Twitter and all of a sudden everything you've done is just completely wiped off the face of the earth.
Good point.
Emails are like the second knife.
Yeah, your safe haven.
Yeah, the safe haven, exactly, to that. So only recently I've been focusing more on emails, but before that it was really just all Twitter.
Because you got banned recently, huh?
For 7 days, temporary suspension.
Because of we're talking about the power of writing and language, but this is a typical example of how something by text can be so misconstrued, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what did you do? You commented something that had nothing to do with what you were saying?
Yeah, so I said, hey, I think the comment was about the Grant Cardone event, actually. And I said, one of my friends said he wanted to go. I said, oh, no worries, I will hit you up. And hit you kind of got interpreted as, ooh, Ben Chan is extremely violent. He does not deserve his place on this platform. Let's kick him off for 7 days.
I wonder, I mean, clearly it's funny that they're not up to date, but the robots of X aren't up to date with the slang, huh?
It's actually kind of funny.
That's very, very interesting that words can be. That's why I do believe that the writing is the first step. And that as much as I do agree with you of putting all your energy, time, and focus into the one platform, I do think that if you do have the tools and the resources, like if you are earning the money and you're able to invest it into somebody else helping you edit and branch out to other platforms, there's a lot of benefit there, right? What do you believe in, or what are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree, but I don't think I'm at that stage yet. I've noticed other people in my niche who are 1-2 steps ahead doing that. And I believe for them, it's the next right step. Because once you have the foundations, then you can scale. For example, the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, is over there.
Yeah, which by the way, we didn't even talk about the view. I thought you were going to mention it. I was waiting for you to mention it.
So we are 30-something stories up in the heart of Dubai. It's beautiful here. Anyway, so the Burj Khalifa was built by setting a really, really strong foundation first. And once the foundation was set, then they were able to scale. They were able to build up the tallest building in the world, but it would have fallen if not for the strong foundation in place.
I love that. I love that analogy. I love that. And maybe I can add my own analogy to this, which I tell a lot of the people that I work with. It's always about, if you don't show up daily and you don't, and like, let's say we have, sorry, I was going to get ahead to the end of the analogy. I didn't even say the beginning. Like if we have plants, and I use this example a lot because I love it. And I think it's very relatable for a lot of people. If we all have seeds in our own garden and we all plant seeds, the seeds that will grow most are those that you put the most time, attention, energy, and focus. What you focus on grows. So if you choose what you put your attention to, like you're saying, to building the foundation in this case, then that's going to keep growing. But it won't happen overnight. No plant grows overnight. And that's why you got to show up daily. You got to water it daily. You got to put in the reps. And a lot of people don't realize that, right? A lot of people think that you want one thing and you'll get it just because you want it. Great. First step is wanting it, but you got to keep showing up, right? I feel like, I'm sure you've met a lot of people. I don't know if people who you've worked with, we're not here to call anybody out, but I'm sure that you have seen people who love to say things that they want, but for some reason they just either I've spent a lot of time understanding, because a lot of my clients have all these big dreams and visions, and I think it's the reason why it's so unattainable for them. It's because it's so big, they don't even take the time to subtract and see that. It's like, think about it. Like if you want to learn a language and you tell yourself I have to learn it by next week, no wonder it's going to feel unattainable. Give yourself a decade, it'll feel a little better, right? What are you thinking? What's coming up for you? I see the things turning.
No, I was just thinking two things. First of all, I've recently started learning Arabic.
Okay, nice.
I'm 20 days in. I've got a 20-day streak, and I've learned about 15 alphabets. It's enough to start. I'm looking around and I'm recognizing some letters here and there, but it's not enough to be fluent in anything, of course. Then the other thing was where you said, things don't just spring up overnight. I saw a tweet recently which said Rome wasn't built in a day, but those who built it were definitely not scrolling on Instagram.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, they were watering their shit daily. They were showing up. Yeah. How strong do you relate to that for building your brand? Because now you've done what? We're 10 months in, right?
Yeah, about 10.
I feel like you and I started around the same time. Am I wrong?
November 28 for me.
I think I literally started the week before that, but I stopped. I'm counting from the day that I consistently posted every single day. So me too was around. I'm curious to know the actual date. I wonder if there's a way I can check.
I think there is. We could try something with advanced search later.
Okay, let's
see how it goes
later. Yeah, but so let's say, just for the sake of this conversation, that it was around the same. So it's been around. We're reaching the 10th month, or we are in the 10th month now. We're just past it. So it's been 10 months for you. So you've been showing up every single day in one way or another since you started?
Until I got temporarily suspended for 7 days.
But you still had ways to show up though. You were still writing your emails. You were still doing client work, right?
Yeah. In that case, yeah. I was building this business every single day for 340 something days now. Yeah.
We're close to the year. That's insane. So seeing how much you've done in 1 year, how does that make you feel, knowing that if you just keep doing this, what you did for this whole year, for the next 5 years, that you can be wherever the hell you want to be? How does that feel?
It's honestly so wild. Like, I've seen some other players in the niche have done in 1 year, and it's crazy to see how far we'll go. And then looking at my progress, I'm going to be, in 5 years, the vision I have for myself absolutely blows my mind. I cannot, 1 year ago, I would not have been able to believe that all this was possible.
Man, I love that. And I relate to you so much. Like, I was recently thinking about that too. Like, do you ever think back of like this time last year where you were, what you were doing? And like, I mean, both of us, we hadn't even started. I didn't even have an X account. I had another one for personal use, but it was so different. It was only football news, music news. Literally, was it music and football? That was it. I don't know. Like, do you think of that sometimes? Like this time last October, where were you? Maybe you can share that with us if you don't mind.
Last October, I was. I had just moved to Dubai, no friends. Honestly, had no plan here. I moved here because my parents were here, and I was working at a job which I honestly didn't like. Funny thing is that now I'm doing a very similar job, but under my own name.
How so?
I was working in a sales company.
Okay.
Working in a sales company selling a product, a great product, but I wasn't very good at sales. Now, technically I do sales, but yeah, now I really enjoy it because it's under my name, under my control. It makes it a lot more fun. Made me realize that I'm not bad at sales. I guess, didn't have the right motivation. So yeah, last year my life was very different. What about you?
Wait, define motivation in this case.
This is good. I guess I don't know. I guess I just didn't. Oh, this sounds like very, very amateur, but I guess I didn't see results, and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't think this is going to work for me, and all that.
Was it because you believed in the product that you were selling, but you weren't maybe so passionate by it? Like it wasn't like, let's say what you're selling now, and I say selling because I see it more as that you're giving a service. It's like recently I was reading this, so I'm reading a new book that I just started, and they were saying it's a lot focused on coaching for coaches, but it applies to anybody. And one of the things they were talking about was a lot of coaches have a big fear, and this again applies to anybody, so please hear this about you and your niche and your interest, your skill set, your line of business. But they were like, a lot of people are afraid to, ask the other person for the money. A lot of people are afraid to send the invoice. A lot of people are afraid to be like, this is how much I charge, because money is taboo, it's like a subject, whatever. Or they don't believe they're worth that much. Whatever the reason is, I don't know if you've been through this. I've been through this, and I'm still learning to go through this. But one of the things I noticed, and what they were saying was, you need to be okay, because yes and no doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when you go to a restaurant and a waiter comes to you and they're serving you and they ask you, Ben, Ben, they don't know your name, but they ask you, sir, would you like some more coffee? They're just there to serve you. And it's very acceptable for you to say no, and it's very acceptable for you to say yes. Either way, they don't care. They don't care, truly. What's $3 going to change for them? Or it will, but again, yes or no doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And for me, that shift changed everything, because now I'm like, I know that what I'm selling, I'm going to say selling in quotes, what I'm serving them is so valuable to them that I'm okay asking, like, would you like to continue doing this? It's a pretty reasonable question, right? What do you think of that? Did you deal with that? Do you feel like you had that push perhaps initially?
I did at first. I had this huge sense of imposter syndrome for the first couple of months. Like, who am I? Why would people listen to me? I'm just some kid, some guy who lives in his parents' basement, plays with his cat all day. Why would people pay me money? I would like to say it was because I went on my own holistic self-improvement journey, and therefore now I don't think like that anymore. But I think the main change came when my clients actually started seeing results, and I was just like, they're doing this because of me, therefore I'm not worth this. I can actually do this. And yeah, over time these wins began to stack, and that really helped me to break out of that imposter shell to become who I am today.
Man, that's a great answer. So you're saying that you collected the evidence that allowed you to bring up your confidence. So confidence is evidence.
Confidence is evidence. You see, if you posted that on X 10 months ago, that would have gone mega viral.
Yeah, and why not anymore?
People are now moving towards stories.
Tell me more.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is a personal brand, isn't it? So sure, you might get 1 million views on your tweet saying pain now equals pleasure later, pleasure now equals pain later, but do they really get to know you better? Do they get to know the mind of Julian or Ben or whoever you are? Yeah, a bit, but not as much as just saying, hey, I used to think like this, and then this happened, and now I think like this. That helps the audience understand you so much more. And if they're able to understand you, relate with you, when you put out something, they'll buy from you.
Nice. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That's a great one. 101. 101 personal branding 101. But that is interesting. So now I guess to go back to what we were saying, so you have less of that push or that resistance, let's say, to tell people or send the invoice because you know how much you're worth. You've seen it and you have the evidence, and that just keeps you going. And that's cool. It's cool to see how much you can do in under 12 months. And I mean, Danko wasn't lying when he said that you can really change your life under 365 days, huh?
You know what's funny? I set a really big goal for myself at the beginning of the year, which was by November 28th, this year, exactly 1 year after I started, I'll hit 10K a month. And at the rate I'm going, it's very possible.
I love that.
Absolutely amazing. This platform, this opportunity, this world which we live in, which allows us to do this. So grateful.
And I wholeheartedly agree with you, and I see the gratefulness that's oozing out of you right now. But it's true. Who would have thought that you could be making that amount of money from your bedroom? It's insane. Why do you still feel there's like such a? I feel like there's so many people who still don't capitalize on this and who don't even. I don't know if they don't believe in it, because it's hard not to believe in it when you see it, right? Especially like I don't know if you have friends and you're in here or in general who are family members for that matter, cousins and whatnot, who have seen what you do. You have the proof that okay, he is doing what he's saying he's doing. He's earning what he's saying he's earning. Why are they not jumping on the opportunity? Is it not for everyone?
Honestly, I don't know. Like I was gonna bring this up also. I have a bunch of friends when I went back to Singapore where I was born. They asked me what I did, so I told them what I did. A few asked me how much I was earning. I told them how much I earned. And they were like, whoa, that's so cool, but nothing else. No, like, how do you do it? No,
why do you think?
I honestly
they're comfortable.
No idea. Like, I mean, of course I'd be willing to help if they ask. Of course I won't spend 10 bazillion hours helping them build their personal brand, but at least I give them a rundown of what I do. But like one person asked, only one out of 20 people. I'm not crapping on them in any means, but I don't know why they didn't ask. So I mean, sure, I'll keep my secrets.
Yeah, and that one person who you did help, did they continue?
I didn't help them. We just sat down and talked about. I showed him everything.
Okay.
We had like a 1 hour, almost like a consulting call.
And it benefited them?
And yeah, they ended up starting the brand on X.
Nice.
I haven't checked on them in a while, but he's now got a pretty decent roadmap on what to do.
Okay, good. Shows you the power of sharing as well. But I think it's wild that 1 out of 20 people would accept, especially when, again, they see the proof, they see all the benefits, they see the benefits of the benefits, they keep seeing everything that could be for them. I see it with so many people close to me. I don't understand. I really don't understand. Like, I personally, my hypothesis is that people are too comfortable and that doing anything out of the norm, because for them, this is like, if we're honestly speaking, it is out of the norm. It's very unconventional. And what they've been hammered for the past X amount of time that they've been alive has been doing things a certain way and adhering to that. So when somebody proposes a different way that's very different, right? Not only do they question it, but they're like, yeah, could be, but I'd have to do all these other things first. Or, I have to set up the account. What if, like you said, what if imposter syndrome kicks in? What if nobody wants to hear from me? When literally there's 8 billion people. I don't know how many are on the internet, but maybe you know?
No.
Like there's a lot of people on the internet, so there's people for everybody. I'm sure we can handle every single objection that a person would come up with for starting and like then you can tell, like they can give you 100 reasons. There's always a million reasons not to do something, right? I think we can both agree on that. But they could tell you, no, I just can't do it. I don't know. Okay, don't do it. And that's it. I mean, it's right. And they're like, no, but like, okay, well then do it. It's so interesting, right? I don't know. I mean, you got your brother to do it, so clearly do you think that was because of just your energy being under the same roof that he felt it?
I mean, if your brother says, yo, I just made $1,000 in a day, you can't quite ignore that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, good point. But good point. But your friends ignored it.
I mean, that's another thing. I mean, first of all, yes, you do. You have to do, to some extent, insane things to get insane results.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it's just limiting beliefs almost. We vaguely discussed this off podcast, but because of the way we were raised, we were brought up to believe that we could do so much more than everyone else thought they could. Like for us, our limits in our minds, I'm guessing, are maybe not unlimited, but a lot higher. We think we can achieve a lot more than other people think they can achieve. And because of that, when this sort of opportunity arises, while most people are like, I don't think I can do this because then 10,000 reasons. A small group of people will be like, I think I can do this because 10,000 reasons.
Interesting. Wait, so you're saying based on the way that we were raised
I would think
and
so.
our parents? Yeah, because there was a lot of similarities there. We went for so Ben and I, we first met, little story here, we first met offline properly with the whole family. I mean, my father and my uncle and his wife, who live in Dubai as well, and then you and your brother and both your parents. And what a lovely dinner that was. Our dads got along really well, and we saw each other again when we went for lunch 2 days ago. That was nice. Went to a nice Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Delicious. And then we checked out other stuff, but it was like it's like you said. I did agree that there was a lot of similarities, and we spoke about it extensively over the past 10 months whenever we hopped on calls. Like there was a lot of similarities. So I do see that as well, of that. Yeah, maybe because we've seen what they've done and how they really both came from nothing and really started from nothing, and what they were able to build from such a low place in their lives. That kind of shows you that, okay, if they can do that, then practically you can do really anything. If you set your mind to it, your time, your energy, your focus. Again, we're going back to the plant analogy or the Bohr's analogy, right, with the foundation. And I really say that it's a very, very good answer. Good point. So now you're trying to tell me it's maybe more of a nurture thing.
I would say so, yeah. To some extent, yeah, it's something that can be nurtured. I would say, dang, I'm repeating words. Everything comes down to mindset. Yes.
Yeah, I like that. That's why I got into this whole mindset shit, because it's incredible. At the end, what I've noticed with coaching, and I'm curious to know if you see this with your clients as well, but you are helping people change the way they see the world. And when you help people change the way they see the world, you help people change the way they show up in the world. And it's so interesting, but sometimes people, like, again, I'm quoting the same book that I'm reading, but this other book, the same book tells today, I was reading it, and they were like, there's this guy, and I'm blanking on his name, so I'm sorry I don't know if the guy's listening, but sorry man, but you came up with a great metaphor. He says it's called the street lamp metaphor, and the street lamp post metaphor. And he was saying that if you after work, or somebody who has a 9 to 5, okay, let's think of the average person here in society who every day after his 9 to 5, he walks back home, passes the bus stop, and once he gets off the bus, walking back home, he passes the same lamppost every night. If he spent 10 to 15 minutes, 5 to 15 minutes, whatever, 5 minutes every night speaking to the lamppost, venting, sharing his problems, sharing everything that went wrong in his life, everything that's going good in his life, just speaking. Evidently, the lamppost will not answer you, but I can guarantee you, if he does that for over the next 21 days, over the next month, 2 or 3 months, he will be a better person and just feel better because he's getting things out. He's understanding himself. He's, same thing that journaling and writing does for you, right? So if already that's beneficial to a human, imagine somebody else who is now another human who you did the same thing with, but that human is able to speak back to you.
This is why coaching is so powerful.
That really is. Yeah, it really, really is. And just for me, remembering, like, again, why do they pay coaches so much? The biggest coaches in the world, why are they paid so much? That's exactly why. If a fucking lamppost that costs you nothing can make you feel better, think about a human being who has a consciousness and a mind, who can really speak back to you, who can see gaps in your life and tell you stuff. But did you ever consider like that route? Because I don't know, do you consider what you do coaching, or is it more consulting? I mean, same thing, I guess. I don't know. So we're getting into semantics, but
I tell my friends I'm a brand consultant.
Okay, I like that. I like that term a lot.
It fit better than content creator and coach, because that made me sound like some scammer or some TikToker. Brand consultant fits.
You could say brand coach as well.
Brand coach would work also. I use brand consultant because it doesn't sound too flashy or too lame.
Do you feel like consultant interchanges well with coaching, or is it different?
I would say so, yeah. In this specific situation, they are interchangeable.
Okay, agreed. I like that, brand consultant and story marketer, right? So So is that your main concept that you came up with? Was it story marketing?
Yeah, currently story marketing is a concept I came up with. It is a way to turn your specifically what I wrote on like I have a document of exactly what story marketing is. The main definition is use content to turn your cold ass audience into warm ass leads.
Nice one.
I don't share that a lot, but yeah, that's the main concept, because most people struggle to get people on sales calls and then fight an uphill battle for 60 minutes just to hear, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you get people to relate with you through content or to hit on their pain points with stories, I mean, they'll be the ones coming to you.
I'm
You
seeing
can be the
so
ones
many
thinking-
similarities. Sorry, you could be the one thinking?
You can be the one thinking, do I want to work with them? I'll think about it. That's cool.
I like that. I think so many similarities with what you're doing, and again, because we're both serving people, but it's in very different ways. Yet so many similarities. Like it's what like the biggest advice that I've gotten, and the best results that I've gotten. So the best way that I've created clients has been through having conversations and sharing stories. And I didn't even think about it fully until you just said that. But it's so interesting. At the end, you're not trying to sell them the concept of what you can do for them. You want to create the experience for them. And how you do that? By having a conversation, by telling a story about your case studies, about your like the people who you've already helped, right?
I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the people you look up to, maybe you don't remember everything they've said, but you remember the origin story. That just shows how powerful stories are.
Yeah.
Apparently our brains are wired to do that. There's some science stuff which I wouldn't get into because I don't know the exact terms, but yeah.
That could be an interesting thread to write about.
It would be, yeah. That would be a good idea.
Yeah, you should
Thank
consider that. Yeah.
I should be paying you.
You should definitely consider that, because it could be. I could already see the thread with the picture of the brain showing you what part of the brain lights up. But it's so wild. I was like, it's so wild how everything is so filtered through that lens. But you're talking about that, and I'm hearing that. I think the reason I believe that stories are so powerful is because we can't view the world directly, so we view the world based on our own experiences and things that we've been through, so through our own filter. So at the end of the day, if you're sharing a story about like what you were telling me right now about how you started and the job you were working a year ago, you were working a job that, it was sales. You didn't think you were the best salesman. You enjoyed it. You believed in the product, but it wasn't your passion. Like although I didn't do that last October, I can hear what's in it for me. And I hear exactly, I can hear. And that's why it's so interesting that that story just fired up neurons and ideas and reminded me of something else of whatever I was doing last October, which I was thinking about it the other day. What was I doing?
What were you doing?
I was very much into events back then, and I was trying to make money, and really thought that, because I always wanted to work with people. I've told you this, and I've tried like ever since I had graduated college, I think for 7 to 8 months, where I was lost and at a crossroads. A lot of it was trying to figure out what to do with people. So I followed that gut of, I know I want to work with people, but I tried so many different industries. One of the interests was events, and the last one was events. I had done an event in Spain in September of last year, and that went really well. But we hadn't earned so much. Like, you didn't earn so much for all the work. Like, the leverage was low. Like, we had put so much effort into it, maybe for a good month before it, to then only, at the end, we didn't make so much more of it, right? And it was interesting. All this to say is that I think around last October, I was convincing myself that going out to clubs, events, festivals, and stuff was a way of me doing market research. Which, in a way, it was. I was learning new music from my DJing and events and making a lot of connections. It's incredible, the amount of connections. If there's one thing that Ayman Ghazi would say, and I've seen it in his vlogs, is that and I've seen it whenever he has vlogs that are in parties, day parties and stuff, is that the amount of people that you meet networking when you're drinking or when you're out, not that I'm condoning this, but I'm just saying that when you're at a club, at a festival, at a restaurant, whatever it is insane. It's insane. And that's one thing I had definitely noticed there. And yes, I'm seeing it here in Dubai, man. We've been here, 7 days, 8 days now. Wow. The amount of things I've done in 1 week, in 8 days, and the amount of connections I've made. Like, I have a podcast guest tomorrow from somebody I met at a restaurant 2 nights ago, taking us to the National Podcast Studio, which is incredible. Like, the amount of people that we're meeting is do you feel that here in Dubai? Living here. I'm asking how it is like living here. Do you feel that?
I would say, yeah, a lot. Though it's not as different as I thought from Singapore, because Singapore is also, just like Dubai, one of the hubs in the world. But yeah, I feel connections are so important. That's actually why I went to the Grant Cardone event I mentioned earlier.
In Dubai?
Yeah. It was near Palm Jumeirah.
Nice.
Which is like that big hand, like the palm thing, which is on
the map.
Yeah.
And you met a lot of people there?
Yeah, it was good. Me and my dad went there. It's quite interesting because then you can be literally anyone, and millionaires will treat you as their own as long as you respect them, know how to communicate with them. It's honestly a cheat sheet to connections.
Everything is easier if you know how to talk to someone.
I try.
Yeah,
You're good at it.
Thank you. So are you. It's just we keep collecting evidence and our confidence will go up, right? Just like you did with the more you do it at the end. But it's interesting. I'm again with Dubai. It's not my first time here, but this time it's because every other time I came here for vacation, for a holiday, and now that I'm working here and I've been working every day here, it's been so interesting the amount of people you meet and everything. Like it's all here filtered through the opportunities. It's insane. I really I do like it. I like how everything is oozing with opportunities. Everything, everywhere you look, even the way the buildings are, the way everything it screams at you like land of opportunity, of money, of networking, of everything. It's powerful. You like living here now, being a year in?
Depends on the month.
Yeah, fair enough.
If it's November, currently it's early October.
So it's nice.
If it's mid-November onwards, it's great. Mid-November to about February, really nice. Any other month,
after February, it gets hot already in March?
It really just goes up really fast.
In March?
1 week.
Wow.
In March, you'll be like, oh, dang, winter's really over.
Oh, damn. I feel like we've had good weather this week. It's been really nice.
This week has been good, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's incredible. Do you see yourself staying here much longer?
Honestly, I want to try to move around. I still really like Singapore because I was born there, my friends are there. I like the culture. So in the future, I'm considering doing like a 50-50 or a 9 month here, 3 months somewhere else split. But at the end of the day, I first need to focus on the foundations, which is the money making and all that before I focus on anything else.
Yeah. The good news is that you can really work from anywhere.
It's actually so crazy. Like, we genuinely just need a laptop and Wi-Fi and we can do anything.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. It really is insane. Man, I have so much to say about that, but the thing that came to mind more and what I found really interesting was when we were talking about Singapore and Dubai, how now I'm sure you've met a lot of people. I mean, the clients, let's specifically talk about the people you work with. They are probably from a lot of different nationalities and cultures and stuff. I feel like, have you been learning or have you been adapting the way that you speak to the people depending on where they're from and stuff? Or not that you're discriminating them, but I'm saying more from, have you noticed differences, culturally speaking?
Definitely noticed differences. Like, to some extent, I mean, you can kind of tell where a person is from based on how they write even. The amount of confidence in some countries is higher, and therefore the amount of authority in some countries is higher. So, and there are a bunch of other small little details which I try to keep in mind when talking and interacting with clients, so I don't accidentally discriminate or put them down. So far, it's been good. Yeah, different countries, cool.
Yeah. So you do take it into account.
I try my best.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that too. It's so interesting how you're able to catch on to it. But yeah, but at the end of the day, as in like you don't have a one strategy works all or like a one size fits all, huh? Yeah.
If it was that easy, like just a one strategy or one size fits all, I don't think I could charge that much. Like the whole point of having a coach is that
you tailor it.
They're able to is that whoever I coach gets a specific plan about them.
Nice.
If it was just a one size fits all, I'll just sell a low ticket product and just promote the heck out of it. Just passive income while you sleep. You know?
Which you can do both. I mean, why not, right?
I plan to.
Yeah. It's incredible. Do you find it also as inspiring as the fact that there's infinite possibilities?
That number is infinite a number? It seems, I mean, when you actually think of the concept, it's so big, it almost breaks your mind. But yeah, I just like to think of question a bit. I just sometimes like to think of how many possibilities there are, and it's really great. This time is pretty much the best time to be alive.
Yeah, agreed. But would you say that, have you felt where, because I feel that sometimes having infinite possibilities can go hand in hand with overwhelm. So do you feel like, I know you mentioned imposter syndrome before. Now is it, do you have you experienced where you know there's so much that we can do, and we live in a society that's so rushed, stimulated, socialized, like we got to do everything right now today. So do you find have you found yourself in the situations where you're like, oh, I could be doing the low ticket product, I could be doing the community, I could be doing the workshop, I could be doing the coaching, I could be doing the tweets, I could be doing social media, I could be doing YouTube. How do you handle that?
I struggle with it sometimes, I'm going to be honest. But most of the time, it's just set a long-term goal, break it down into short-term goals. And from then, which of these choices, shorts, YouTube, the low-ticket product, coaching, focusing on content, writing stories, gets me to my shorter-term goal, which eventually gets me to my long-term goal. And I'll just go on that. For example, I would really love to do a low-ticket product right now, but it's not the right, like my business is not in the right place for that. It'll come eventually, quite soon actually. No, I'm not going to turn this into a plug. Gonna come soon, but it's not the time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you, so you were just able to, what, the like divide and conquer, or how are you, you understand what I'm asking, right? Like, how are you dealing with that? Because if there's always, we're saying there's infinite possibilities, then that means it's never ending. You always have so much you can do, right? Like, I know that you said you still, do you still find yourself being harsh with yourself as well?
Yeah. I when you say harsh, I'm guessing you mean strict, disciplined.
Maybe, yes and no, as in, I mean also harsh in that, like, the voice inside your head that tells you that you can always be doing more, even if you release that product that you're going to be releasing, even if you do have your coaching. Let's say you're having everything, you're making the 10K a month that you want to be making. There's still more. A lot of people think, oh, okay, I've done it, I'm at 10K now, great. No, okay, let's move on. Let's go to 20K, 30K, so on and so forth, right? But that's what I'm saying. How do you find a way to separate from needing to always be doing, right? And always finding yourself overwhelmed, and as a result, there's no action being taken because you're so overwhelmed, and you end up being paralyzed, right? Like, has that happened to you? Do you still feel like sometimes there's moments of that happening?
Sometimes, definitely, but at the end of the day, I really just try to get back to the basics. What is my goal for this month or this year? And what exactly do I need to do to get there? I have, every night before I go to sleep, I have a list of goals which I need to hit the next day. Sometimes I don't hit them, but at least if I feel overwhelmed, I come back. I even have different categories. So the little markings I put, one is ETF, which means eat the frog. I need to do it first.
Okay.
Things which
Like that.
I think it's before 3. So after 3, which are slightly important but not that important, and IGT, which is if got time. So if I have time to do it, then at the end of the day I'll do it.
So you've set parameters for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool system, actually. So you know what are the tasks you have to do first before 3, after 3, and then those that if you still have time for, great, nice. And then that helps you in a way divide and conquer. It allows you to
divide and conquer.
Yeah, I like that. It allows you to subtract. That's what I'm saying. Do you think that a lot of people are not able to achieve their biggest and wildest dreams because of the fact that they're so wild, big, and crazy and far-fetched that they just feel so big, and then because they feel so big, they're like, well, hey, it's so far away, when every little action you take every single day will get you a step closer to there anyway. Even if it's not tomorrow, next week, or next month, you're still getting a little closer. Right? So do you feel like that's why?
I would say it comes down to a mindset issue.
100%.
Like, I mean, like what you discussed, people think they can't do it because it's really big. But at the end of the day, I'm going to use a video game analogy.
Yeah, please do.
One of those, I used to play Minecraft a lot. I still do once in a while. And sometimes if you want to build like a huge mega base, thousands of blocks, it might seem daunting at first, but the best way to do it is first to work on color palette. And once you finish the color palette, you work on the outline of the base. And then once that's done, you finish the framework, the skeleton. And then after that, you slowly fill it in. And then you gather the resources. You just go step by step methodically.
Yeah.
If you try to rush everything at once, of course you're going to screw up. You just need to go, okay, what do I need to do now? And then do it. And then what do I need to do next? And then do it, all while maintaining the mindset that, hey, I actually can do this.
I like that. So every little bit adds to the, like, when you add it together, the compounding effect is powerful. And
Yeah.
it all makes a really powerful difference when they're added together. Nice. So is that what you do? I guess that's what you do with the Eat the Frog. And if I got time in the past, what's the after 3? What's it called?
Before, after 3.
After 3, what, like what's so you said before 3 is Eat the
A3.
Frog?
So I have ETF, which is Eat the Frog.
That's before 3.
I mean, that's just any time. A3 is after 3.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
think it's like I had a different term for it. I can't remember.
Okay.
And IGT, which if got time,
Okay.
which is at the end of the day, if I'm not too tired or if I just still can work, then I'll do those.
Man, I love it. I think that's a great advice for people who are listening to. If you really have these big, massive visions that even are less than a year away, you know, or you may not think you may think they're like 5 years away, but maybe they're just going to be here next year, like it was for us last year. The best thing you can do is divide and conquer, subtract. Think of what's the lowest friction thing, or the thing that I can do today that will get me even just 1% closer, and that's really all that matters. I like that advice, and see how you can eat the frog. That's nice. Tell me, Mr. Ben Chan, now that we discussed where you were a year ago today, would you be able to share a little bit of where you would like to be a year ago next year? Or sorry, a year ago next year. That makes no sense. This time next year. If you don't mind me asking, of course.
In January, I thought my 10K a month goal was really, really big. But if I don't hit it, at least I'll be really close. And
you
that's
most certainly will not quit.
a lot further than I thought I'll go.
Yeah.
Currently, my goal for next year, 2025, November 28th, would be to get my first property.
Oh, nice. With the money that you've earned.
With the money that I've earned.
Nice.
I mean, we are in Dubai. It would be a bit of a pity if we didn't capitalize on real estate.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So that's my goal. I know it's really big. Like, because
Right.
in Singapore, I'm guessing it's in, I don't know, maybe Dubai is cheap or Singapore is expensive, but home prices in Singapore are absolutely wild.
Really?
So the thought for me, a Singaporean, to be able to own a property at 23 is, yeah, I haven't done it yet, and it just blows my mind already.
I love it. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be thinking the same thing. Damn, this Ben guy is crazy. Look at his wildest dream. That's so far-fetched. But hey, you're you know that's your direction, that's your path, and that's where you want to go. And you have a bunch of little different things you can do every single day, every single week, every single month, till you get to November 28th, 2025. And nothing's stopping you. You're going to keep moving, right? And that's the thing. That's the secret here. It's to always keep moving. Would you say what's the at least for me, that's the thing that I've learned from this past year or 10 months of what we've been doing. My biggest takeaway has been always keep moving, no matter the outcome, because it will always serve you. That's my takeaway. What's your biggest takeaway from the past 10 months?
I would suppose it would just be the cliche. Anyone can do, within reason, anything.
Within reason.
Because, oh gosh, I feel like I'm hyping myself up too much. But a year ago, I would
Hype
never
yourself
have
up,
guessed.
please. Hype yourself up.
A year ago, I would never have guessed I would be in this privileged position, meeting people like you, talking to the people I've gotten in contact with because of my personal brand. Yeah, so that one lesson really is you can do anything as long as you set your heart and mind and soul and strength to do it.
Yeah. No dabbling, no scratching the surface. Committing with your whole fucking heart.
Exactly that.
Agreed, man. I like the way you put that. It's beautiful words. You're also a little bit of a poet, you, huh?
I stole that from the Bible.
I love it. No, man, it's so true. It's really true how much you can do when you really believe in it, and you really keep yourself believing even when the times get tough, even when things don't go the way you envisioned them, right? It's so powerful. So man, I agree wholeheartedly, and I love that your story started with music, that then it led you to short films, and now it's led you to the world of X, personal branding, now story marketing, brand consulting. I wonder what term we can add into it. But if we had, in my head, I'm seeing a whole timeline of Benjamin Chan, and it's music parody, or there's music parody guy. I don't know, what do you call it? What's the term? Music.
I don't even think.
Yeah. Parodic music. No, I don't even. I'm trying to think of the term for it. There's no term for it. Just music parodies. What was next? I forgot. I'm like,
Film.
oh, short films, X personal branding, story marketing. Now also brand consulting.
My LinkedIn is going to look really good after this.
Damn, think about your LinkedIn in 5 years. But it's so interesting, like how much you can really do. That's one thing for sure I'm taking from this conversation is how much you can really do, no matter your age, no matter where you are. Like you said, as long as you have internet and you have a laptop, or even a laptop, as long as you have like some kind of electronic device, it doesn't have to be a laptop, right?
That reminds me, like, X really seems like a time warp. Even though you say even your age doesn't matter. I mean, we're young compared to everyone else in the world. But on X, we're seeing 50 and 60 and 17, 18, 19-year-olds making 10, 20, 30, 40K a month. It's absolutely wild. Yeah. Like, once again, the opportunity here, this sounds like an ad, but like the opportunity here is amazing.
Yeah, don't sleep on it more than you already are. I just believe that like it's I don't know if it's scarce enough, and scarce things are special, and I don't think it's scarce enough yet. I wonder if, I mean, look, they made the blue tick scarce by adding a price to it, and everybody ended up getting it because it was more special. Yes, it also played into the psychology, right, of it, but it's so interesting.
I remember you were the one who convinced me to get the blue tick.
Yeah, huh? I remember that.
Long ago. I was like, no, I want to get to 1,000 followers first so I can say I can. And he was like, no, psychology, trust me. So at about 630 followers, I was like, all right, I got it. And then I started writing long forms. And because I wrote long forms, I wrote stories.
Right. The tick gave you access to the long forms, huh?
Oh, so you're responsible for my success.
I was about to say, that's I'm so happy that's the conclusion of this podcast. That is the conclusion. That's what we're gonna name it. I'm gonna tell the editor to name it.
The real reason for Ben Chan's success.
Yes. And it will, like, people be so curious to know. That's a great hook. Man, that's so funny that I do remember telling you that. I remember saying to you, like, Ben, you want to make money, you got to spend it first.
I remember that.
Do you remember that? I said, no, I think I said to you,
thing, yes.
I think I said to you, the more you want something, the more you want of something, the more you should give it away first. And I think it applies to money. I think it applies to love. I think it applies to kindness, to generosity, to anything you want. But I think don't do it with that in mind. Don't spend the money. I mean, in this case, yes, you were spending the money because you wanted to make more of it. But I'm saying when it comes to giving compliments, don't give the compliments because you want to receive them back, right?
I mean, it's more blessed to give than to receive.
100%.
It's not more blessed to give because then you receive. It's more blessed to give than to receive.
Man, which leads me to the charity event that you're putting on. Tell us a little bit about that. How did that start? I think, was it Arnie who started that? Please tell me a little bit about how this is coming together.
So we're doing a charity event because a bunch of us have platforms, and I mean, if you have influence, the best way to use it is to help others and to benefit others. So this is something that came to the mind of, I think it was Arnie and Zachary, first of all. Mm-hmm. These are two great people on X, great creators. And they wanted to partner with the charity to use the platforms that we have built to actually, change someone's life. So they gathered together a group. I'm part of it. Julian's part of it. And we got a bunch of amazing speakers who are all really willing to help out, love the cause, love the mission, and
give their time.
Yeah.
Right. But so Arnie and Zachary came up with the idea, and then they started reaching out to people like you and the other people who joined. And I remember Ben telling me about it, like, hey, we're looking for foundations. I know you and your family have a foundation. And we had told you about our foundation and how we had started it and the whole story behind it. And I remember you telling me, like, hey, there's so many to choose from. We might not be able to choose yours, but would you like me to put yours into the what did you say, into the running race? To
just add yours to the list.
To the list, thank you. And man, when you guys called me to tell me that you ended up choosing ours, do you remember you met my father. How touched is he?
Your father's reaction is something that I shall remember for quite a while. He's so pure, and you could just see how touched, I don't want to reuse your words, how happy he was. Like, how just genuinely happy he was.
So we did the dinner last Sunday, remember?
Like,
it was in your honor, remember? We all cheers for you. You and I were like, we're not gonna drink any wine, but then we just said, okay, just for the cheers, remember?
Yeah. he really loves what he's doing with the foundation, and he just really loves the cause and the foundation as a whole. It's amazing.
And I think it's cool because at the end, the whole personal branding really at the end of the day it is a business. It is entrepreneurship. And I believe that you've said it this in the podcast already. You've said how there's no limits. Like the barrier to entry is really, really low, right? And it can really, and anybody can do it. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, and doesn't matter anything. And that's what we're doing with the foundation. We're trying to give back these opportunities to the women, right? And I mean, this is what we're raising funds for. We're trying to, because I could have many opportunities thanks to my nurture, to my parents, just like you, to our dads, to our moms, to the environment that we're in, the city that we're in. We can have a bunch of opportunities, but some women could be more talented than you and I combined, and yet because of society, because of the inequality, because of where they're raised, where they are in the world, the color of their skin, anything, they could not be successful because of that. And how so I mean, and you know the main story and the main reason of why it is women and stuff, but it's so crazy that now because of that, and because that we started this and you guys started creating brands and now started to join forces, you want to give back, you want to use your name for good, you're putting all this together, and it's creating a beautiful charity event, online virtual conference with incredible speakers that people pay so much money to see their courses and whatnot. And all that money is going to be going into this foundation to be helping hundreds of women across the world. Like, do you see the ripple effects?
It's actually wild because, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all just random, I won't say kids, but people who just started these things in our basements.
Yeah, true.
And now we impact people across the world.
And think of the ripple effects. Again, think of the ripple effects keep rippling beyond you. Like, then, if you want to take it even deeper, all those women that you're going to impact and help, like, all the money is going to go to them, and they're going to start their businesses. Like, one of the women that we had helped with the foundation when we first opened it 2 years ago or a year ago, one of them was for plastic. It was called Gravity Wave, and it was to collect all the plastic in the oceans. And like, if you go on our website, you'll see that the amount of plastic that that business that the woman started because of the money that we raised, because of the people who donated it. So now again, think, because of you guys that you're starting this event, the people that are going to donate money, to all the speakers who are devoting and volunteering their time, all that money is going to go to helping those people, those women who then are going to be able to help the world, either make it a better place. We're going to be able to help other women grow their businesses. The ripple effects keep rippling beyond you. And it's the same now beyond the charity event. It's the same with what you're doing. All the clients you've helped them bring their brands, bring in clients, tell stories, make money, help other people make money, help other people tell stories, help other people do whatever they need. It's the ripple effects keep rippling beyond you. It's incredible. How cool is that?
That just feels so amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even is that the reason why we do what we do? You think?
Pretty much. I mean, it's just like Abraham Maslow said, and in his whole hierarchy of needs, at the end of the day, all we seek is self-actualization. We chase fulfillment.
Which is never ending, no?
Yeah, it's another crazy, weird, wild concept.
Yeah. We can save that one for part 2 of the podcast, huh? But Mr. Benjamin Chan, thank you so much for your time. Before coming here, Ben told me that he had done his research and he was ready for one of, not that I want to end the conversation, but I'm conscious of the time. I know we still have some other stuff to do together. And I know there's so much more we can talk about, but I want to save that for future episodes. We're going to be seeing each other much more in person, so we'll be doing more and more of these. And so thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. And I'm so happy that we were able to do this. Tell me that I told you this months ago.
You really did, yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm so happy that once again, look, we created it. We said we were going to do it, and we did it. So, Mr. Ben Chan, my last question for you, sir, is what is one song? Because you know how much here at the Dom's Dance Court podcast, we love music. We talk about music. I love that you have a little bit of a background in music. So, what is one song that comes to mind now as I'm speaking? And I know that you've already thought of this before coming here, but that you would like the listeners to take with them as the outro of this podcast takes them back on their way?
I would say Sold Out by Hawk Nelson. Really great
Ooh,
song.
I've never heard of the song or the artist.
You gotta, if this is gonna be the outro, I'm guessing it is.
Yeah.
Start from the chorus.
Okay.
Banger.
Really? How did you discover the song? What do you like about it?
So this was actually, one of my friends is was one of the top table tennis players in the world.
Mm.
And
Wow.
he said they played me this song when I was walking out. So, I mean, you can kind of imagine the vibes coming from it already.
Okay.
He said, could you help me find it? And I found it for him. And we both listened to it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times that year. It's both of our favorite songs. And it still really slaps. Great song.
So how does it make you feel when you listen to it? Like you're walking out?
Yeah. I feel like it's a little bit cringe. I feel like an absolute hero.
I love it. Yeah, it's not cringe at all. I love that. You are a hero. I'm sure many people see you as a hero. I see you as a hero. So I love it. I love it, man. So say it again. We're listening to
Sold Out by Hawk Nelson.
Sold Out. Sold Out?
Sold Out.
Sold Out by Heart. I can't even.
Hawk Nelson. The bird Nelson.
Hawk Nelson.
Hawk Nelson.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for being here, my man.
Thanks for inviting me.
To many more.
Yeah.
Much love, man.